Hello and welcome to our final categorization is twisted pair cabling based on the different number of pins. Each twisted pair cable contains 8 wires, and a pin refers to a relative position of a single wire in which multiple wires are arranged in a certain fashion. So these arrangements can be classified by different standards, and two of the most useful or most common standards are 568A and 568B. And let's take a look at how they work. This is an illustration that in a 568A, how the wires or how the pins would be arranged. You see that we have 8 pins, but of different colors. This standard refers to how the different cables or different pins should be arranged. On the other hand, another standard is called 568B, wiring standard. In this standard, the pin position are specified a little different from that of 568A. And now we'll take a look at why they're different and why they're needed. There are 3 types of cables that we can classify based on the different pin output. 568A and 568B, remember, refer to wiring standard, whereas straight-through, crossover, and rollover cables refers to the cable itself and how its pins should be arranged. A straight-through cable is used to connect unlike devices. Here's how their pins are arranged. Pin 1 must correspond to pin 1, pin 2 to pin 2, and so on until pin 8 correspond to pin 8. Now this means both sides must have the same wiring standard. So both sides must have 588B or 568A. On the other hand, crossover cables are used to connect like devices. For example, the connection between 2 desktop or 2 switches use crossover cables. And here's how their pinout look like. Pin 1 correspond to pin 3, pin 2 correspond to pin 6, pin 3 correspond to pin 1, and pin 6 correspond to pin 2, while other pins are matched with their corresponding pins. So you see that pin 1 and pin 3 switched places, and pin 2 and pin 6 switched places as well. This means they use different wiring standard on both sides of the cable. So one side must end with 568A, whereas the other end with 568B. Rollover cable, on the other hand, is a special type of twisted pair cable because it doesn't follow any of the wiring standard we mentioned above. It has a completely reversed pin, so pin 1 corresponds to pin 8, pin 2 to pin 7, pin 3 to pin 6, and so on until pin 8 corresponds to pin 1. Rollover cables are especially used to manage Cisco devices via their console port. In this illustration that you see here, we have a UTP cable.